Gun control is a hot topic after President Obama took executive action to tighten controls on guns. Now the administration is trying to build public support for those moves. Our Colleen Marshall sat down with Vice President Joe Biden today for a one-on-one interview, and she's live at the White House tonight. Colleen?
You know, Ellie, there's a certain irony that you're beginning this newscast tonight with two more violent gun deaths in the city of Columbus. It's exactly the kind of thing that Barack Obama and Joe Biden have been talking about in their gun push. They are gearing up for a fight, and they want the American people to support them. They say that they've waited 7 years for Congress to take some kind of an action on gun violence. And today, the vice president said they had to take executive action to make that happen. And now they're bracing for the backlash from the NRA.
The part that frustrates me is not their position, but their distortion of our position. If you notice, you read some of the websites here, we're saying what we're trying to do is confiscate your weapons, take away your right to have a shotgun. This has nothing to do with any of that.
Joe Biden is a man on a mission, trying to convince the country that common sense gun control is long overdue. He calls background checks and limits on who can own a gun rational.
If you are adjudicated as schizophrenic, should you be able to walk in and buy a weapon?
The White House wants to hire 200 additional ATF officers for background checks aimed at convicted felons and the mentally ill. And they hope states like Ohio will also adopt legislation to keep guns out of the hands of those who commit domestic abuse. But Americans are buying more guns than ever before. And in Ohio, a record number of people are applying for concealed carry licenses. Are Americans clamoring for more restrictions on gun sales?
I think Americans are clamoring for something that's common sense.
Critics say it's an assault on the Second Amendment.
I have 4 shotguns in my house that I own. I'm a gun owner. So I support the Second Amendment. I just want some rationality brought into this.
Biden says the plan also calls for $500 million for increases in mental health resources. Because of the 30,000 violent gun deaths in this country last year, 2/3 were the result of suicide.
All we're talking about now is enabling the laws that are on the books that overwhelming support, including the NRA supported background checks before, enable them to be able to work, to have enough personnel to enforce the law, as well as make sure that the people who shouldn't have guns under the existing law, no new law, aren't able to get them.
And the vice president says he believes Americans do support them on these issues. In fact, he says 90% of Americans a universal background check for gun sales. Live in Washington, Colleen Marshall, NBC4.
Colleen, many thanks. Of course, we're going to continue to cover this issue on air and online. To see more from Colleen's trip to the White House, go to NBC4i.com.